Chaco Canyon is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located in northern New Mexico. For all the wild beauty of Chaco Canyon's high desert landscape, its long winters, short growing seasons, and marginal rainfall create an unlikely place for a major center of ancestral Puebloan culture to take root and flourish. Yet this valley was the center of a thriving culture 1,000 years ago. The monumental scale of its architecture, the complexity of its community life, and the high level of its community social organization and its far-reaching commerce created a cultural vision unlike any other seen before or since. The cultural flowering of the Chacoan people began in the mid-800s and lasted more than 300 years. It can be seen clearly in the grand scale of the architecture. Using masonry techniques unique for their time, massive stone buildings called great houses were constructed of multiple stories, containing hundreds of rooms, much larger than any they had previously built, implementing fractal geometry in their design and construction. These structures were often orientated to solar, lunar, and cardinal directions. Lines of sight between the great houses allowed communication. Sophisticated astronomical markers, communication features, water control devices, and formal earthen mounds surrounded them. The buildings were placed within a landscape surrounded by sacred mountains, mesas, and shrines that still have deep spiritual meaning for their descendants and for many others who feel the high vibrational vortex that emanates from Chaco Canyon. By 1050, Chaco had become the ceremonial, administrative, and thriving economic center of the San Juan Basin. Its sphere of influence was extensive. Dozens of great houses in Chaco Canyon were connected by roads to more than 150 great houses throughout the region. It is thought that the great houses were not traditional farming villages occupied by large populations. They may instead have been impressive examples of public architecture that were used periodically during times of ceremony, commerce, and trading when temporary populations came to the canyon for these events. Pueblo descendants say that Chaco was a special gathering place where many peoples and clans converged to share their ceremonies, traditions, and knowledge. Many Southwest Native people look upon Chaco as an important stop along their clan's sacred migration paths, a spiritual place to be honored and respected, a spiritual sacred place to be loved and protected by all. With great effort and perseverance, Western Environmental Law Center, one of the best non-profits one can support, had another great victory recently. They saved nearly 3,000 acres near Chaco Canyon from fracking. However, Chaco is not safe yet. A Denver-based corporation, Saddle Butte LLC, has applied to the Bureau of Land Management to build a 130-mile oil pipeline through northern New Mexico, home to Chaco Culture Historical Park. This pipeline would permanently cut through federal, state, native peoples, and private lands, opening the floodgates to thousands of new oil wells, millions of gallons of contaminated groundwater, damaged archaeological sites, diminished recreation economy, and further climate disruption and degradation, as well as creating a society of sick and poor local people. This picture is really an ugly picture of short-sightedness and one of no regard for the local native peoples and the pristine beauty of their ancestral lands, and one that we need to avoid at all costs. Can we all rather spend our time, efforts, and tax-paying dollars on implementing renewable resources? By setting a precedence of love and respect for the ancient cultures of New Mexico, a better place can emerge. Through the actions we take by keeping our state clean and beautiful and protecting our precious historical and archaeological sites, we pave the way for change and renewal across the world. In the end, we do this for our children's children's children to be able to experience in awe these precious, pure ancestral lands. Please help us and do your part in preserving and protecting Chaco Canyon forever. Write letters to your senators and state representatives so we can stop the exploitation and potential destruction of these spiritual and sacred ancestral sites forever.
I